Georges Dussaud Photography Center. Visiting exhibition by Nicolás Müller. A compromised look. Technical acknowledgements. The texts for the audio-described visit were produced within the project Cultura para Todos Bragança, Culture for All Bragança, of Bragança City Council, with funding from the European Social Fund. Reference North 074230 FSE 000058, which is being conducted by the Polytechnic Institute of Bragança.
Instructions. Let us start the audio-described visit to Nicolás Müller exhibition. This audio recording includes audio description, which is a resource directed to people with visual impairment. However, it also offers relevant information to other visitors that may enhance the access to and interpretation of this exhibition. The visit lasts about 30 minutes and is divided into information about the center and the photographer Georges Dussaud, the exhibition space, the wall text, and the chosen photos. These have been organized according to the walls where they are displayed. This visit includes the description of the space and of the photos, and the reading of the texts that are included in the exhibition. The dimensions of the works of art and of the spaces are given when possible. First the width, followed by the length.
The Photography Center and Georges Dussaud. The Photography Center started as being a noble family's residence. In 1937, it was purchased by the municipality and, after refurbishment works, it became the Passos do Conselho, old name for City Hall, in 1942. 40 years later, it became the City Cultural Center, offering a city library, a theatre and a dance room, a music room and painting and sculpture workshops. In 2004, it was named Paulo Quintela Cultural Center as a homage to this intellectual from Trás-os-Montes. At the same time, the remaining services were transferred to the current facilities. On the 25th of April 2013, Georges Dussaud Photography Center is opened in Bragança, dedicated to his extensive photographic work. Georges Dussaud was born in Brou, France in 1934. His work was displayed in numerous institutional collections of reference, such as the Arquivo Fotográfico de Lisboa, the Lisbon Photographic Archive, the Centro Português de Fotografia, the Portuguese Photography Center, the Georges Pompidou Center, or the National Library of Paris, among others. His work has also been included in various books and catalogues. For more in-depth information, please check the audio text about the building.
Exhibition space. We enter the visiting exhibition room through two doors, one on the right and another one on the left. Between these two doors, there is a 2-meter wall where the wall text is to be found. This room is rectangular and is 7 meters wide and 18 meters long. The shorter sides of the room are on our left and right on entering. The wall in front of us has 6 tall windows, sometimes be opened or closed, which have dark green wooden shutters. Between the windows, there are parts of the wall where some of the photos are displayed. Each wall is dedicated to one of the countries Nicolás Müller went through and photographed. Clockwise, these are Spain with 20 photos, Hungary with 15, France with 16, Portugal with 9, and Morocco with 8. All photos have a light brown frame with glass. They are relatively small, 20 by 20 centimeters. They are all black and white, and there is only one night photo.
Wall text. As already said, there is a wall text between the two entrance doors. Let's read it. Nicolás Müller, Orosháza, Hungary, 1913, Lanes, Asturias, Spain, 2000, is a part of a unique group of Hungarian photographers widely known, such as André Pinho, Laszlo Moholy-Nagy, Martin Munkacy, Francisco Asman, Eva Besnio, Brasai, Lucien Hervé, Marimar, and Robert Capa. Of Jewish origin, Nicolás Müller lived in his homeland prior to the Second World War, and, as many other Jews, he had to migrate to save his life. At the time, he travelled through Italy, France, Portugal, Morocco, and eventually disembarked in Spain, where he settled permanently. Nicolás Müller witnessed a period that left Europe fraught with scars and remarkably recorded the way workman's life would flow at the time. He experienced and endured the beginning of Nazism, and in pursuit of a free society, he went to several countries which fell under the Nazi barbaric control: Austria, Italy, France, or others like Portugal or Spain, where he settled in Madrid in 1948, which had the misfortune of undergoing their own dictatorships. The current exhibition is a journey through countries where Nicolás Müller lived. It is made up of 126 pictures, most of them exclusive, and produced for this occasion by the Cervantes Institute and the Ministry of Culture of Spain. The photos date back to the period between 1937 and 1967. Nicolás Müller tried to present a selection of his top 100 pictures, but it was clear that there were far more pictures which deserved to be displayed.
Photo exhibition. Let's begin our visit, for which we selected 33 photos out of the 78 on display. We will start with the wall right on our left, which is dedicated to Spain, and continue clockwise until we reach Morocco.
Photo 1. The writer Pío Baroja at Parque del Buen Retiro, Madrid, Spain, 1950. Photo at the Buen Retiro Park. In the center of the photo, the writer Pío Baroja among numerous tall trees with thin trunks. We can see the sky among the tree crowns. The sunlight enters through the left side of the photo and shadows are projected onto the right side of the photo. Pío Baroja is so elegant and thin that he seems to be just another tree. His left hand is in his pocket and his right behind his back. He's all dressed in black, with a black hat, and only his beard is white. There are no more people on the photo. The writer is only in the company of the trees.
Photo 2. Poet Federico Moellas, Cuenca, Spain, 1950. A man walks towards us on a street. He's surrounded by dark buildings, and there's a slightly fuzzy church in the background of the photo. Federico Moellas is a tall and sophisticated man, dressed up smart, with a long overcoat and a hat. He carries his walking stick on his left hand and walks the streets of Madrid. He's not a young man. On both sides of the street, cars are parked.
Photo 3. River Wecar, Cuenca, Spain, 1952. This is a day photo where we see a river, its banks and many trees. The photo is taken from one of the river banks. On the other side there are trees and vegetation. In the middle of the river Wecar, in Cuenca, there is a boat with 5 children in it. These are not the focus of this photo, but rather the landscape, the river, the trees on the banks and the vegetation. In the background we can see some houses and an arch. The sunlight creates shadows in various places in the photo. Although we know it's a photo in Spain, it appears to depict a lush landscape, perhaps of Arab inspiration.
Photo 4. Expectation before the puppet show, Spain, 1952. In the foreground, facing us, there are dozens of children scattered on the floor. In the background, we have the older children standing. They are all waiting for the puppet show to start. The children are dressed up as if for a party. The girls have braids or ribbon or bow on their hair. The boys have fancy shirts. Behind these, there are some girls in dresses.
Photo 5. La Chanca 3, Almeria, Spain. An old woman at the center of the photo. Behind her, there are white houses and a corner of the sky. She looks like a working woman. She's wearing a dirty and worn smock over her black clothes. Her left hand is on her waist, in a natural gesture. Her grey hair is pulled back. She has a brooch on the collar of her blouse, perhaps a safety pin for tricot. Her facial expression is very pleasant. She seems to be posing for the photo.
Photo 6. Fishing nets in Cudillero, Asturias, Spain, 1965. In the foreground, we see some fishing nets, and behind 2 old people and a child. It's as if the nets were the apron of the stage, and the house the scenery. The fishing nets are dark and seem to be hanging from the top down over the scenery. The photographer happened to find. Bound to the nets, there are whitish buoys. In the background, there is a run-down stone house. We see a wooden door and some wooden shutters that are closed. Everything is very dark. We notice the contrast between the grayness of the floor and the building and the darkness of the nets. At the center of the photo, 2 people talk. A man sitting at the step of the house and wearing a black cap, and a white-haired woman with a black scarf on her head that is standing and carrying a child.
Photo 7. Argamasilla de Alba, Ciudad Real, Spain, 1957. The photo shows a long, barren plain stretching until we lose sight of it. In the middle of the photo, a circle with many children holding hands. Around 40, all of them girls. There is a single adult, and more boys and girls watching the circle from outside. We can't see their faces. We see that they wear different clothes. Some white clothes, other dark. On the right side of the photo, a small, derelict house and a path. There is no elevation or any other construction, just a few low stone walls. It's a sunny day. The perspective of the photograph is from top to bottom. By showing this abandoned land, Müller conveys the idea of rurality and poverty, of solitude. Are they remnants of the dictatorship in the peninsula? And why are these children in a deserted area? What else is around that the photo hasn't captured?
Photo 8. Weir Construction 6. Hungary, 1936. Two men on the bank of a river and the black hull of a moored boat. These men together carry a bundle of planks on their shoulders, one in front and the other behind. They carry them to a ship moored to the riverbank. The men are in shorts and bare-chested, their physique visible, their backs broad and their shoulders toned. It is a sunny day. We can see shadows cast on the ground.
Photo 9. Children in the Village, Hungary, 1934. Two rows of children sitting on the floor in front of a white wall. Neither ceiling nor floor can be seen. In the front row, two boys look directly at us. One boy with a more serious look and the other one with a naughtier look. In the back row, some boys look to our right. In their midst, a child is sleeping with his hand slumped over his shoulder. Another child, who is older, is barefooted, and we see her dirty feet.
Photo 10. Peasant 1. Hungary, 1939. Photo of a peasant on a rural landscape. His body is sideways, and his face is staring at us. We can't see his legs. This man doesn't look like a peasant, because he isn't wearing the expected garments. He is wearing a dark, thick coat and a huge hat. Next to him, there's another man, out of focus, with a wart in his nose.
Photo 11. Boy carrying firewood, Hungary, 1934. Two children in a rural environment with houses and trees in the background. In the center of the photo, a young boy with crew-cut hair carries a bundle of firewood on his back that occupies the width of the photo. He is looking directly at us with a half smile, but he shows no distress or sorrow. His body is bent with the weight of the firewood, showing how strained he might feel. Behind him there is another boy with a fuzzy face. He is barefoot.
Photo 12. Weir Construction 5. Hungary, 1936. A steep and rocky slope. 4 people go up and down that slope, carrying stones in their wheelbarrows. We see the sky at the top of the picture. The men all wear hats on their heads, and some wear trousers, others shorts. They have a strip around their torso that might be where they attach the trolley. On the far path, 2 men are climbing and pushing their respective trolleys. On the nearest path, 2 men are coming down and pulling the empty trolleys behind their backs.
Photo 13. Weir Construction 2, Hungary, 1936. Photo taken from top to bottom. A man in a boat on water. All around we see the sky and the vegetation on the shore. The man is standing straight but sideways. He is bent to our left, pulling a kind of lever with quite the effort. He is bare-chested and wears black shorts and a cap on his head. He is barefoot. There are some logs across the boat.
Photo 14. Peasant woman, Hungary, 1936. In the middle of a cornfield, a woman leans forward to harvest grain. She is dressed in black, with rolled-up sleeves and a scarf on her head. Her eyes are closed in effort. It is a fuzzy photo that conveys the idea of movement.
Photo 15. Floating laundry, Bordeaux, France, 1938. In the foreground, we see a large boat in a river. In the background, a stone bridge. The boat is rectangular. It is a floating laundry boat on the river in Bordeaux, a structure with 2 floors. The lower side part is stripped and has 2 windows. The front part is open, but it's so dark that we can't tell if it is a machinery. At the top there are clothes racks surrounded by iron bars. They seem to be sheets drying in the wind. There is a chimney in one of the corners.
Photo 16. Children working on boats, Marseille, France, 1939. 2 boys are inside a boat, the blue sky in the background. The boy closest to us has 2 steering wheels in his hands, and, underneath, some iron pulleys around which some thick ropes are wrapped. Behind him, the other boy with a relaxed look has his left arm on the rudder of the boat. They both look to the left side of the photo, as if they were looking at the horizon. We do not see the sea or its movements, but we seem to feel it. Both are wearing caps, like French berets. One is dressed in white, and the other in black.
Photo 17. Woman in traditional costume. Alsace, France, 1938-1939. An old woman occupies the foreground of the photograph. In the background, a man's head and two windows on the facade of a building. The woman is wearing the traditional costume of Alsace. She looks at her surprised. She has beautiful, clear eyes with a cheerful and friendly expression, which contrasts with the rest that is very dark. The whole outfit is black. She has a shawl on her shoulders that falls over her chest, and on her head a giant bow, the symbol of this traditional costume. Under her right arm, she carries a book.
Photo 18. Photographer working at the Eiffel Tower, Paris, France, 1939. The perspective of the photograph is upwards. A man is hanging on the railing of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Behind him, there are two men. They stand at the end of this landing. The man hanging has his back to us, in a long white trench coat. His legs are spread, one foot on the outer railing of the tower, the other leaning on a gate on the inner side. Although we cannot see it, he holds a camera in his hands. Beneath his legs, we see the two men. One is looking straight at him, the other is facing our left. It looks as if they are posing for the photographer, balanced on the landing.
Photo 19. La Madeleine, Paris, France, 1938. A night photograph of La Madeleine, the Madeleine Church in Paris on a winter's night. The ground is covered with snow. The church fills the right side of the photo and looks like a Greek temple because of the triangular shape and the thick round pillars. Around it a railing. There are several lampposts scattered around the photo, and one of them is close to us. We also have two black cars parked on the snow. The lack of light enhanced the blurry atmosphere, as if we were in the middle of fog. The photo conveys a feeling of cold, typical of a winter's night.
Photo 20. Peasant in Haute-Savoie, France, 1938. This photo is diagonal. A half-bodied man occupies the entirety of a photo, framed in a natural landscape. The man is probably in his 40s, but has distinctive wrinkles around his eyes and mouth. He is standing and carries a hoe on his right shoulder. He wears trousers with a pair of braces over his striped shirt. His left hand is tucked into his trousers. He looks to our right.
Photo 21. Little girl, France, 1939. A half-bodied teenage girl in the center of the photo. Behind her, a large tree and a building. The girl is blonde and has fair eyes. She is wearing a white blouse. She has some hairpins above her ears that hold her short curly hair tighter. Her hands are resting on her waist, with her elbows back. She is looking to the left side of the photo.
Photo 22. Under the Rain, Portugal, 1939. The photo was taken from top to bottom, slightly out of focus. In the foreground, a man and a woman are walking side by side on a tar road. In the background, another man with his back turned to us. The couple looks up. It is raining. The man is on the left of the photo and is wearing a dark suit, hat, and tie. He has a black umbrella. To his right, a woman is dressed as a fishwife. She is barefoot and has a white apron over a dark skirt, a scarf on her head, and the typical fishwife's basket on her head. Her umbrella is resting on top of the basket. Further away, in the upper right corner of the photo, the other man walks beside a white wall, all dressed up in black with his umbrella opened.
Photo 23. Vila Formosa Market, 4, Portugal, 1939. Two old men around numerous baskets, behind them a dozen people in the marketplace, the trunk of an olive tree on the left side and a merry-go-round in the upper right corner. One of the old men has a beard and both have dark berets on their heads. The man on the left of the photo is sitting on top of a basket. The man on the right is standing and leaning forward as in a conversation and holds on to his giant umbrella that goes up to his chest.
Photo 24. Vila Formosa Market, 5, Portugal, 1939. we see the sky in the background of the photo. In the center is a 2 or 3-year-old girl, standing. She is wearing a white dress by the middle of her thighs, and a white coat over her shoulders. Her head is covered with a white knit cap. Around her are 3 women, 2 on the left side of the photo and 1 on the right side. They are dressed in black and have their heads covered with dark scarves. Between them are 2 cloth bags. The girl is looking to our right side, very attentively, almost with a suspicious look. Each of the 3 women is looking in different directions. They seem to have been taken by surprise.
Photo 25. Street near the Douro River, Porto, Portugal, 1939. This is a photo of everyday life in Ribeira in Porto, in a dark alleyway leading to the Douro River. There are dark buildings on both sides and an arch at the end, through which a beam of light shines. The floor is made of large, uneven stones on which people walk. We see a man with his hand turned, a woman with a baby, another woman walking up the stairs in the center of the photo, and more people in the background already in the light area. The great beauty of this photo is the contrast between light and dark.
Photo 26. Coimbra, Portugal, 1939. 4 men in academic attire walk down an alley in Coimbra. This alley has an arch that is known as the Almedina Arch. The students walk by a shop, which is on our left, called Fashion Palace. It has empty hangers swaying outside. To the right side of the photo is a staircase leading somewhere we don't know. Students are conversing, amused. A couple of women walk down the street. Another walks up the street. There is a young boy carrying some shoe boxes tied up with a string.
Photo 27. Lalamanana Halmos Bahia Cemetery, Larache, Morocco, 1942. 4 people with their backs to one another enter the cemetery. On both sides of the photograph, a large hedge covers a high white wall. In the center of the photograph, the rectangular entrance to the cemetery. In place of the doorway, there is an oval-shaped arch, quite elaborately crafted. Above this entrance, some Arabic letters that look like the interweaving of a web. At the top, a decoration in the shape of pineapple leaves. The people entering the cemetery are completely covered in white robes. You can't see their heads, and they are barefoot. They are probably women because Muslim men do not dress like that.
Photo 28. Group of girls, Tangier, Morocco, 1944. 3 children are in the middle of the photo, surrounded by more people in a public space, perhaps a market. These 3 children are looking straight at us. The girl on the right has many curls and smiles at us. On the left side, a boy with a fringe. Behind them, another child peeps between them. The 3 children are wearing white tunics and have their hair covered by the hood of their tunic. In the background of the photo, we see 2 men wearing tall hats, called Ottoman Turkish hats. Another man has a white prayer hat.
Photo 29. Eid el-Adha Party, Tangier, Morocco, 1944. A man carries a ram on his shoulder, around his neck. The ram has a lot of wool. The ram's head is facing the right of the photo. The man carrying the ram is holding its legs. He has an open waistcoat, jacket and loose breeches. On the right side of the photo, a bearded man of considerable age is wearing a tunic and has his hair covered with a turban.
Photo 30. Tangier 1, Grand Souk, Morocco, 1941. In the foreground, a crowd of people gather in a steep street. In the background, buildings and the sky. There is a crowd of faces, both men and women. Some have traditional clothes, others more modern, Western clothes. They are people from different regions. In the background of the photo, 2 buildings, and on the right side of the photo, a wall. There are people sitting on balconies, others on the roof. There is a tree on the left side and a person sitting on a branch.
Photo 31. Eid el-Maloud Fair, 5, Tangier, Morocco, 1942. A walled entrance. There are people standing, others sitting on the wall. In the background we see a hill with a tree and the sky in the background. The women are dressed in white and their heads are covered. There is a man at the entrance who looks like a military because of his uniform and boots. The people sitting on the wall are all barefoot. Beyond the entrance we see a tree. There are people inside. It seems to be a field. There is a tower lying on the ground and several women around it, as if it were a picnic.
Photo 32. Airshow, Morocco, 1942. 2 men at the entrance of a tent. In the sky, 3 planes fly over the tent. The tent looks like a circus tent because of the many ropes holding it to the ground. We see 2 men at the entrance, dressed in white robes and hats. In the right corner of the photo, another man is dressed in a white uniform and gloves. He's most certainly a military.
Photo 33, Tétouan, Morocco, 1942. A young boy is sitting on a chair outside a kiosk. The doors are open. The entire darkened facade is covered with lots of framed photographs, postcards, posters and magazines. There are hardly any free space. The boy is clutching his chair and smiling intensely at us. On the right side of the photo, a small barrel is perched on the ground holding the door of the kiosk.
Closing. We have now reached the end of our visit. On behalf of the team that helped create and produce this audio-described visit, we give you our thanks and hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to your next visit. Before you leave, we would like to ask you to leave us your feedback. For that same purpose, please fill in a short questionnaire available at the Photography Center on paper or use the QR code to access it online. Your feedback is crucial to continue improving our audio-described visits.
Technical acknowledgements. These texts were produced within the project Culture for All Bragança, North 074230 FSE 000058 of the Bragança City Council, with funding from the European Social Fund. It was conducted by the Polytechnic Institute of Bragança. The photos described were selected by Diogo Carvalho and Marisa Afonso. América Couto, Francisco Alves, Luciano Ferreira, Marisa Afonso and Nuno Rodrigues validated this visit. Voice talents: José Luís de Castro and Ricardo Santos. Sound mixing: André Pinho. Production: Polytechnic Institute of Bragança. If you'd like to contact the Polytechnic Institute of Bragança's team with your opinion, please email us at culturaparatodosbraganca@ipb.pt.